My relationship with food. This is going to be quite an open chat, one that I've deep dived a little bit on in social media, but I want to explain and open up about what happened and why I'm doing this photo shoot, even though it took me nearly 2 years to fix my relationship with food because of the last photo shoot. When we do this, I'm going to have a cream soda Pepsi, 2 calories in the whole thing. This is getting me through prep. For anyone new watching this, hi, my name is Killian. I am a health and fitness coach. I have a master's in sport nutrition and I completely messed up my relationship with food 2 years ago. This came about, and to give you some context on it, I was training with a coach who at the time I had a lot of respect for, pretty much looked up to this person in terms of from a fitness perspective, from a business perspective as well. So went in on board with them naturally. And I said to myself, yeah, I'm going to do a photo shoot based off, obviously, the advice of the coach. Thought it was a good goal at the time, something I always wanted to do. And I also figured, well, I am a coach myself, so I need to walk the walk. You know, I'm a firm believer that coaches need to walk the walk when it comes to coaching. So they were kind of my main reasons for doing it. And throughout that period, I began to develop a very restrictive relationship with my food. The coach who I was with, and I'm not going to name or talk or anything like that about the person, in my eyes or my opinion, I think they were going through a lot of shit with their relationship with food, and it was then passed on to their clients, right? It was really restrictive in the sense that calories got very low very quick. There was an insane amount of steps and cardio put together. So yeah, there was a lot. And the third thing was, food-wise, there was no such thing as like a refeed day, a high day, any sort of flexibility. It was like, you have to follow everything to the gram, otherwise you're going to fuck this up, right? And I really got that embedded into my skull where, you know, after the photo shoot, I got really lean, but for about 3 weeks, I would like excessively eat. And this is a common thing in people who do a photo shoot prep for the first time or they step on stage. You will see a lot of people develop unhealthy relationships with their food. A lot of people won't talk about it. And then a lot of them are coaches and get other people to compete or go on photo shoots, photo shoot preps. And they're like, you'll be fine, just suck it up. That's kind of the attitude of it. So yeah, I kind of fell into that category where like I got very food focused, got very restrictive eating patterns. You would probably call it like a disordered eating. Not an eating disorder, that's very different, but disordered eating in a sense that would be very fearful around food, you know, in the sense of thinking that chocolate was going to mess up my whole physique, but then I'd go out and slam a pizza and a load of food and just still wouldn't be full. A load of things going on. So finally managed to get the appetite regulated, and for me, I'd lost a lot of weight. And I think, to be honest with you as well, in that first photo shoot, I actually lost a lot of muscle. Like I got down to 71 kilo and I just looked like a twig, an absolute twig. But for about the 2 years after that shoot, I would not go into any sort of a gaining phase because I was afraid of putting weight on, right? This was the thing, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I thought I was keeping myself lean, but I just looked like a skinny fart. And I suppose I finally decided to say to myself, right, you need to, you know, start putting on a bit of size here. So I got in contact with my current coach, Alan, who's been fantastic. And there was a key thing that he said to me, and he was like, Killian, like, we need to body build, not body break. He's like, right now you're just breaking your body time and time again. And that really resonated with me. And that's kind of the phrase and that I'll always use with a lot of my clients, is that we need to build the body up, not break it down. So Alan, if you're watching this, thank you for that. So yeah, over the last 2 years, you know, I've managed to build on my relationship with food quite a lot, put on a lot of muscle. And coming into the start of this year, I was chatting with Alan and I was saying, look, I want to do a photo shoot again. And my main reason was I wanted to prove to myself that I had fixed my relationship with food, or it had got significantly better, and I was going to have full control over it this time around in this photo shoot prep. So that's the biggest reason for me. Obviously as well, look, you know, it's a nice kind of target to set yourself. And I like to walk the walk with my clients. Like I have a couple of clients doing photo shoots now, going through prep, and I want to show them that their coach can do it as well, and he leads from the front. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about 3 things that helped me fix my relationship with food. And I think this is going to be hugely important for anyone who's gone through years and years and years and years of dieting, because so many of you come to me in my messages, in my DMs, telling me you've been dieting for as long as you can remember. You've gone from one diet to the next, you've tried them all, you've put the weight on, you've lost the weight. You've put it on, you've lost the weight. That is not a good relationship with food. And we need to learn how to build a good relationship with our food in order to lose the weight. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Tip number one, I would say first and foremost, is you've got to take a step back before you go forward. And this is probably a little bit contradictory, and you're probably thinking, what is he on about? What I mean is, a lot of you guys are going from one diet to another, to another, to another, to another. It's restriction, it's restriction, it's restriction. We're constantly in calorie deficits, we're constantly cutting out carbs, we're constantly cutting out whatever it may be. And our appetite is all over the place, right? So what we'll always do, and what I did to fix my relationship with food, was I actually spent a period of time building my calories up to a maintenance level where, I was matching what I was burning. So I wasn't gaining weight, I wasn't losing weight, but I built those calories up so I had a sufficient amount of energy. And I then focused on starting to build a good structure around my food, because structure is going to be absolutely key here. So what I recognized was that I started to begin to develop this pattern where I'd hold out on meals all day so that I could have a sweet treat in the evening time of 2,200 calories, which for me was ridiculous. But I'd end up then over consuming in the evening time because I'd be starving, there'd be such food focus, and I'd end up having like 4, 5, 6 chocolate bars, whatever it was. So instead, what I started to do is realize, okay, well, you actually need to eat kind of quite frequently throughout the day to regulate your appetite. So that's something that I started to build up. And now my eating pattern is basically before the gym, which is 6 o'clock to fuel my session. After the gym, around 10 or 11 o'clock, I'll have a meal around 2 o'clock, I'll have a meal around 5 o'clock, and then I will have a high protein meal with my snack at 8 o'clock. So I'm eating 4 or 5 times throughout the day, and that's allowing me to regulate my appetite. And this is what we do with all our clients before they come in, because they've done years of extreme dieting where from day one, they're given some shitty program and told to cut everything out, go on 1,100 calories and just hope for the best. We do this with all our clients. So we actually bring them into their maintenance calories first and get them to the point where they're like, Killian, I'm so full, I can't hit my calories. And I'm like, good. And we build the structure from there. So we get regular feeding times in so they can recognize when those times are. They can set aside that time to eat the food. And this builds up a really good structure with their food, and it also then helps them to regulate their appetite significantly. And once we can do that, then you can go into a bit of a deficit, but feeling a lot better. So that's effectively what I did. And it helped me to get rid of all of that food focus. I started to actually enjoy eating foods quite a lot as well. Because I was regulating my appetite and eating quite a lot of whole foods, which I'm going to talk to you more about now in point 2, it meant that a lot of my cravings were gone. So let's deep dive into this one as well. I cannot stress how important it is if you want to fix your relationship with food, you need to eat a lot more nutrient-dense foods. Whole foods that are high in fiber, complex carbohydrates, and protein. Because what is happening is you guys are literally backloading all your calories to the evening time, not eating throughout the day for a couple of treats and snacks, but then you're going overboard. And this is what happened to me as well, right? And the body, there's a difference between hunger and there's a difference between appetite, and we're going to talk about that as well. But our hunger is our physiological state of like the body actually needing food, for energy to actually function. Whereas our appetite is like a multifactorial thing. It can be based off our mood, our energy, cravings, environment, etc. Right? So what I'll always say to people is, like, if you constantly just feed your body with all of these treats and snacks, they're high in salt. Sometimes they're high in fats and sugars. And that gives the body a dopamine rush, and then it starts to build up these patterns where it recognizes, hey, that food is going to spike my dopamine. We want more of this, right? So this is where you then have a situation where people are eating more and more and more snacks and treats. And they're like, I'm just addicted to chocolate, for example, right? So what I always say to people is you need to actually start eating more whole foods, right? Because if we can eat a lot more whole foods, it's going to regulate that appetite far more. We're going to get a far more better energy balance throughout the day, and naturally then the cravings start to come down. And again, we see this time and time again. I applied it to myself, I seen it with myself, but we see it time and time again with our clients as well. Like the amount of clients that I have coming to me being like, after 2 or 3 weeks, they're saying, Killian, like I have zero cravings for chocolate or takeaway or whatever it is. And I'm like, yes, that's because we have regulated your appetite far better. You're eating consistently with the structure that we talked about in point one, but we've also included high fiber, high protein, nutrient dense meals throughout that day, which is going to help regulate that appetite far more. And that's something that I massively put a huge focus on. And it actually just got to the point where I was eating my maintenance calories and I was eating whole foods that at the end of the day, I didn't even crave or want the chocolate bar. Like it got to a point for weeks and weeks and weeks I didn't eat chocolate. Like sometimes it was there, of course I'd have a bit, but like usually for me it would always be like, oh, so much chocolate in the evening time or all these low calorie treats. And because I was actually regulating my appetite, I'd sit down and I'd just watch TV, and I would always, to be fair, I'd probably have like a Coke Zero or something like this, but there was no need or want or craving for chocolate or any of those sweets or snacks. So I always say to people, like, if you really want to fix that appetite, eat more foods, and eat more good foods is basically the best way to describe that. More proteins, more carbohydrates, good carbohydrates, more fruit and veg. If you can do that, you're going to severely regulate your appetite far more. And the third thing I want to talk about is that hunger versus appetite, right? And it's trying to create that relationship, that awareness with yourself of when we're actually hungry versus when it's just our appetite kicking in. And what I mean by this is, like I said, our hunger is our physiological response to the body telling us, hey, you need to feed me because I'm in a suboptimal state right now, right? Because the body wants to survive at all times, right? So that's when we get cues like feeling weak or tired, lethargic, growling pains in our stomach, maybe get the shakes, etc., right? That's physiological symptoms of hunger. That's when you need to feed the body, right? Versus our appetite, like I said, is quite multifactorial. And in my opinion, the three things that influences appetite is environment, number one, your emotions, number two, and number three, marketing, right? And even just look at how nice that packaging is, right? This is cream soda flavor. And the reason why I bought this was the packaging. I was like, that looks really nice and tasty. Now, it is really nice and tasty. So I'm glad I got it, right? But food marketing over the last couple of years is probably the biggest reason why so many people have become obese or overweight, because it's everywhere. We see it all the time. So we want these new foods, we crave them, we always see it. It's on our mind time and time again. And those kind of three factors, I think, is what severely increases someone's appetite. And that's why they always feel like they're addicted to chocolate, or I can't stop eating, or I've put on so much weight, etc., right? So identifying true hunger versus appetite is going to massively help you to be able to control your food and your nutrition and your relationship with food, right? So one thing that I started to apply was a bit of like a traffic light system. When I found myself going to the fridge, or when I found myself going to the snack press, whatever it may be, I asked the simple question: is this true hunger? Like, is my tummy growling? Have I not eaten in the last 4 hours? Am I feeling a bit weak and tired? Or is this a case where I'm stressed, I'm anxious, it's just a craving? Maybe I'm in a social setting and I want the food because it's all around me. And I asked those questions, and that allowed me to differentiate what was truly hunger, or what was, true hunger, or physiological, or appetite, right? And I would just say to myself, hey, if it was hunger, great. Okay, let's prioritize a nutrient dense meal first before just going to the sweet press and mindlessly eating at the sweet press. And then if it was appetite, I'd have a little bit of a routine where I distract myself for a couple of minutes. 9 times out of 10, after I distracted myself, I wouldn't be craving the food, right? And I think if people can get a lot more aware around their appetite, and especially around their environment and emotions, I think that will massively help someone to get a better relationship with food, right? Because for a lot of people, the reason why they snack is because they're in some sort of an emotion, right? Tired, hungry, bored. Like, how many times are you just watching the TV and you associate that TV with eating food, right? So if you can start to identify all these different emotions, you can then just ask yourself that simple question: hang on, am I actually hungry, or is this a mood coming in or an emotion coming in? And if it is, then you can put your plan B in place, is what I call and say to all my clients. Have your plan B, whether that's to go for a 10-minute walk, whether it's to read a book and distract yourself. Have a distraction in place to just kind of curb that craving a little bit, and then reassess. And if it's still there, then I always say, okay, go for a high protein, high fiber source first. before we just aimlessly go for the chocolate, right? And they were kind of three main points that I really worked on quite a lot to help me build my relationship with food. Now, the other point, so there were actually 4 points to talk about, is restriction, right? The first time I went into my photo shoot, I said absolutely not going near any restaurants, not having any drinks, not having any chocolate, anything, right? And actually it nearly ruined my relationship with Stace, with my family, because I was so restricted. I was literally just sitting in the house week in, week out, right? And I get when you're on prep, right? When you're on prep for a photo shoot or you're on prep to step on stage, eating out does become limited, right? Like, you've got a target that you want to reach. You've got to get down to pretty low levels of body fat. If you're eating out once a week or if you're drinking once a week, you're not going to achieve that target, right? And this is the thing then as well that annoys me about, let's say, the online presence at the moment, where you've a lot of coaches who are like, they actually promote, they're like, yeah, eat out every week, you'll be fine. Look at me, I do it all the time. And the point that a lot of people miss out is that, yeah, that coach might eat out every week and be in incredible shape, but they're also probably training 4 or 5 times a week. Their steps are pretty high. They're getting cardio in, and they have mastered tools over the years to allow them to actually eat out and control it. Yet they're sending out that message to you. Say, yeah, absolutely, you can eat out and every weekend and lose weight. And then you literally go and eat out every weekend. You don't have the correct tools. You're not as active as them. And you're like, oh, how am I gaining weight, right? So it's a case of, yes, we can eat out. Yes, we can have social events, but there has to be an element of control around it. And that's one thing that I brought into my prep, where I was like, I'm actually going to have a couple of meals out. I had one of my best mates, Sean, it was his engagement party, so I had a couple of drinks there. So I had a week where I had to leave Dubai to come back home to Ireland. That completely disrupted my prep, and I had to eat out every night for 3 days with no real idea of calories. But I did it in a controlled manner, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could do that and I could implement and bring that in for this photo shoot prep, right? So that was another thing that I had a look at. But the key thing that you have to remember there is, like, yes, you can do it, but you do it in a controlled manner, right? So when I went out to my mate Sean's engagement party, I had 5 drinks. I skipped the starter that they brought out. I had the main, which was a chicken breast with a bit of fucking veg. And they had this like deep fried potato. I skipped it. And I just skipped the dessert. And I had a couple of drinks, enjoyed myself, and also relied on to myself and said to myself, you don't have to get absolutely hammered here to enjoy your mate's engagement party. And I didn't, and I had a great day. Same thing, myself and Stace, we'd go out for a meal. Instead of slamming a big pizza, we went for some Thai food. So it was a case of still allowing myself to go out, but doing it in a pretty controlled manner and just being smart with my decisions and my choices. And I was really happy that I was able to do that. Again, my coach Alan brought in a couple of what we call like refeed days or high days, where after, say, a couple of weeks of going pretty hard at it, staying pretty consistent and disciplined, I'd have a high day, a high calorie day where I could enjoy that off-plan meal, and it was untracked, which was really important as well. Still tracking intuitively, like by making the mindful choice, getting the Thai food or whatever, but it was off plan. I didn't have to worry about tracking every single calorie, which was quite nice. And again, this is something that we do with our clients. We call it our 6-in-1 method, where we say, okay, 6 days out of the week, we're locked in, we're focused, we're hitting our goals. 1 day out of the week, we can enjoy a meal out, we can enjoy a couple of drinks. But again, key thing here, in a controlled manner, right? So what we look at is that day, let's say one of our clients is going out for a dinner Saturday night, we'll say, okay, well, let's control the breakfast and lunch. We go high fiber, high protein, high in volume, low in calorie for breakfast, same for the lunch, and then enjoy your meal out, untracked, off plan, and have a fantastic time. Again, simple choices, maybe share the starters, have your main, skip the dessert, right? And that's the key thing there. So they were kind of 4 points that I wanted to talk about with how I fixed my relationship with food, how it's a lot better. And now I'm a week out from my photo shoot prep, and yes, definitely cravings are up, particularly in this last 10 days. They have skyrocketed, and all I want to do is like eat a load of chocolate. But I know for a fact that I'm not going to go down that route of the next 3 weeks after my shoot, where I'm so food focused and I'm so fearful of food, because I've built these tools over the last 2 years. Like after the photo shoot on Sunday, me and Stacey are going to go out. We're going to a pizzeria, right? Because we call each other pizza pals, right? Because every now and again we have pizza together. I'm going to have a couple of drinks. I'm going to have my pizza and enjoy it. Next day I'm going to get my mum's home cooked lasagna because she makes the best fucking home cooked lasagna ever. And I'm going to enjoy that. But then on Tuesday, I'm just going to get back into routine. I'm going to start building my calories up to a maintenance level, eating the same foods I'm eating right now, just include a little bit more quantities. If I want to bring in a little bit of chocolate, or if I want to bring in a treat here or there, or if I want to do my 6-in-1 method, I will do it. But everything is all controlled because I worked on those 4 key points. So that is just a little bit about my journey. I know for a fact, if anyone who's watching this, if you were to apply even one of those points, you will start to see a significant improvement with your relationship with food, right? Biggest thing you need to do first, and what I would recommend to sum all of this up, if you're someone who is stuck in that constant dieting mentality, number 1, bring yourself into maintenance, fix your structure. Fix when you eat and eat every 3 to 4 hours. Number 2, start to include a lot more high fiber, high protein, nutrient dense foods. Number 3, recognize your mood, recognize your environment. Get more control. Number 4, don't restrict everything. Still enjoy a night out, still enjoy a meal out, but within a controlled manner. If you can apply those 4 key sentences right there, you are going to fix your relationship with food or significantly improve it, right? So that's just a little bit there. I hope you have found that useful. I'm starting to try push this YouTube channel a little bit more, so I would really appreciate a little bit of a subscribe. And yeah, if you have any topics you want me to discuss a little bit more like this, please let me know. So thank you very much.